Hi, welcome everyone to another video on my channel. My name is Denis and today we're going to discuss pretty much about everything that happened in Game Week 4 of Fantasy Premier League and also what to do better in the future. Now, if you enjoy my content, leave a like, hit that subscribe button, but now let's get into it. Okay, so in the beginning, we're just going to start with showing you how my team performed in Game Week 4 of Fantasy Premier League, and I'm just going to be honest with you guys. It is really tough to have a happy face after all that happened in Game Week 4, after all the performances. But yeah, I'm a positive guy. I'm going to try to be positive. It is still the start of the season, so a lot of things can change and we can definitely improve. So again, 62 points in Game Week 4. It's not such a bad score, but 3.7 millions is not the place I want to be, obviously, at this point in the season. But again, we have a lot of chances to get better, to improve our rank. And again, even with 62 points, I managed to get a small red arrow to 3.7 million. So yeah, it is what it is. We're going to discuss real short about how my team performed. As you can see from the screen, my defense pretty much saved me. So it's not like I made a lot of mistakes, to be honest with you. So my transfer this week was selling someone like Arwan Bissaka, who pretty much lost his place at West Ham, and I just bought Anderson from Fulham, who was pretty much the highest scorer in my team. He got 10 points. So yeah, really happy with that. I nailed that decision. Yeah, a lot of people probably bought Semenyo and he scored 2 or 3 more points than someone like Anderson, but still Richard again with 6 points, Pedro Porro with 6 points. So everybody in my defense got a clean sheet and some bonus points there, besides Sanchez, who obviously conceded. João Pedro, really happy to have him. Mohamed Salah, yeah, I'm going to be honest here. He was really lucky. I was really lucky as an owner because he got a penalty in the last minute of the game. So again, Salah was non-existent. We're going to discuss about all these problems in the next parts, but at least he got a return. He got 18 points, so it is not the end of the war. But the funny thing is here, if you look at my bench, Esteve or Stevie got 4 points. And he outscored pretty much Rogers, Reinders, Wirtz, Watkins, and Mateta. And I just find that really funny, to be honest with you. And yeah, all you can do pretty much is just laugh at that. So yeah, really disappointed with the Aston Villa boys. Yet again, the fourth time in a row. Rogers with 3 points, Watkins blanked again, and they were really bad in that game against Everton. I wish I didn't saw that game, to be honest with you. So yeah, Aston Villa were really bad. The fixtures are great, yeah, in the future, but they didn't score a goal in the first 4 games of the season. Nobody could have predicted that, so it's not like, obviously, maybe now I wish in hindsight that I made more early moves, but again, the fixtures were there. Aston Villa were really good in the preseason. Nobody could have predicted that they're not going to score a single goal in the first 4 games of the season. We're going to see what I'm planning to do in a minute, but yeah, pretty much this is the short resume of how my Game Week 4 went. I'm still positive. I think that we have a lot to do in the next few game weeks, and obviously we need to see what we're going to change. So let's just move to see my plans for the next few game weeks. Okay, so now I want to discuss a little bit about my plans and strategies for the next few game weeks, because I know that maybe a lot of people are panicking at the moment. Again, everybody makes mistakes. Maybe I overlooked someone like Haaland at the moment, because the biggest topic this week probably is going to be Erling Haaland after his amazing performance against Manchester United. Again, I don't think that you should buy Haaland in Game Week 5 if you're asking me that, because he's going to play against Arsenal and probably that's the toughest fixture he's going to get all season. But definitely we need to think about what are we going to do in the future. Nothing can be changed about what happened before. Obviously, I wish now that I haven't started with Rogers, with Watkins, with Florian Wirtz. But again, that can be changed. What we can change is what's in front of us. So again, maybe I was a little bit too patient in the first 4 games of the season. But again, that's not always something bad to be patient. Definitely, I'm not saying that. But also, I'm open to make some changes. And yeah, for Game Week 5, probably my plan is still going to be to bench boost in Game Week 5, because I just don't think that's the right time to use your wildcard if you're thinking about it. I know it is really frustrating to have players like Watkins, Rogers, Wirtz. Maybe you don't like Mohamed Salah, maybe you want to have Erling Haaland, maybe you want to have Gyökeres, but I just don't think that Game Week 5 is the right time to use your wildcard, and we're going to talk also about that in a minute. I'm going to show you my team. So my plan is still to use my bench boost in Game Week 5. And also at the moment I'm thinking really about aborting my fleet. My initial plan was to use my fleet in game week 6 to have Erling Haaland against Burnley, because I knew before that I wanted to have him in game week 6. Now after his performances, after his underlying statistics in the first 4 games of the season, and also taking into consideration that Mohamed Salah was not amazing, let's be honest. He was a little bit lucky to get so many returns in the first 4 games of the season. That changed my mind maybe a little bit, and maybe I will want to have Haaland onwards from game week 6, not just for game week 6, maybe I want to have him for game week 7, for game week 8, and in that case I really need to change my strategy. So probably I'm going to abort using my fleet in game week 6. I'm going to find another week to use my fleet. That's not the big problem in my team at the moment. So my options at the moment, I'm going to show you my team in a minute, are to get Haaland using my wildcard in game week 6. That's a real possibility. Or I could just transfer him in using transfers, and probably that's going to be for -4. I'm going to show you in a minute. Another thing to think about is using your triple captain chip in game week 6. Manchester City are going to play against Burnley, if you don't know, at home. So Haaland at the moment looks like an amazing pick for the triple captaincy. Again, I don't think that's a must or something like that. There are going to be a lot of times to use your triple captain in the first part of the season, so it's not a must, but I think that you should have Haaland in game week 6, and I think that everybody is planning at the moment to find a way to get Haaland in game week 6. I think that's pretty much as close as essential as you're going to get. Now, my initial plan was also to try to delay my wildcard, maybe for game week 12, probably game week 13 was my best intention, my best window to use it. But again, if I'm going to use my wildcard in game week 6, I need to see the differences. And also in game week 13, you're going to use your wildcard to have a lot of Manchester City players, a lot of maybe Liverpool players, some of them Arsenal players, and also that's also what I'm going to do if I'm going to use my wildcard in game week 6. Is not great because the fixtures for Arsenal are not amazing in game week 6, for an example, but if you're going to use your wildcard in game week 6, you need to be prepared for that fixture. So what I'm trying to say is that it's not such a big difference in a wildcard game week 6 and a wildcard game week 13. Now, again, a lot of things could happen in that time, so maybe we're going to change our minds. Maybe Mohamed Salah is going to be banging goals and Haaland is going to get injured by game week 13. So we don't know what's going to happen, but at the moment, yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. So my plan is still to use my bench boost, and also my plan for at least one more game week is to have patience with Watkins, Rogers and Wirtz. And trust me guys, I know how frustrating it is. Maybe you have Watkins, maybe you have Rogers. I have all of them. I have Wirtz, I have Rogers, I have Watkins, I have Mateta, I have Reindeer. So again, the fixtures, we're just going to move right now to see. This is my team for game week 5. So as you can see, Aston Villa are going to play against Sunderland, and although I was really impressed with Sunderland, don't get me wrong, I don't think that this is a straightforward game for Aston Villa, considering that also they were really bad in the last few game weeks. So again, I don't think that this is going to be a 5-0 or something like that for Aston Villa. Again, let me just see Aston Villa scoring a goal, hopefully in the cup against Brentford or something like that. But the fixtures are decent, so definitely I'm not going to sell Watkins in this game week. Maybe I'm going to think to wildcard in game week 6, but for game week 5, I'm going to try to be patient. And this is how my team is looking at the moment. To have a better image of how my bench boost is going to be, probably if you ask me, I would play Sanchez if I had the choice against Manchester United and playing Dubravka against Nottingham Forest. I really rate Chelsea's defense, so that's what I would do. And yeah, pretty much this would be my starting 11: Milenkovic, Anderson, Richard, all my defenders with great fixtures, as you can see. Also Esteve, Pedro Porro, Salah and Wirtz against Everton at home, not great. A Merseyside derby usually is not such a high scoring game, but again, it's Mohamed Salah, and maybe that sounds a little bit crazy, but I really don't want to have Haaland playing against Arsenal. So yeah, really happy with Mohamed Salah. Probably is going to be my captain. Wirtz is not amazing. He hasn't delivered in the first 4 games of the season. It's not like he was an awful player. A lot of people are talking like he's a really bad player. It's just not that. Liverpool are still adapting with their new players. They have a lot of new players in attack, especially Isak is going to came in. So again, they still need to adapt to the Premier League. Again, in FPL, talking about FPL, he was really bad. I agree. He was a mistake to go from him from the beginning, but it is what it is. Now I'm just going to keep them. Here, my attack is Watkins, Joao Pedro, Mateta, and in midfield, as I said before, Rogers, Watkins against Sunderland. Reinders against Arsenal is not amazing, but yeah, I have 0.9 millions in the bank, so I'm going to use a transfer because I have still Sarr in my team who is injured, and I'm going to have 7.4 millions to buy a midfielder. Now, there aren't a lot of good midfielders. I can't afford Semenyo. Also, the fixtures is not amazing against Newcastle. If I'm going to be 100% sure that I'm going to hit that wildcard button after Game Week 5 deadline, I'm just going to take a punt on any midfielder for Game Week 5 because after that in Game Week 6, I'm going to have Semenyo for sure. That's 100%. So my options at the moment are obviously maybe a Nottingham Forest midfielder, someone like Ndoye, someone like Hudson-Odoi, someone like Anderson, but that's not really that exciting. Someone like Kudus against Brighton, someone like Xavi Simons. And to be honest with you, if I think that Harvey Ellis is going to start, probably I'm just going to buy Elliot and yeah, make the transfer, play him against Sunderland away. And this is how my bench boost would look like. Now, if Elliot is going to start, more correctly, this is how my bench boost is going to look like. It's not amazing. It's Sanchez, Esteve, Pedro Porro against Brighton, and Reinders against Arsenal away. But I just want to get out with the bench boost and then plan ahead. So this is how my team would look like. I'm not 100% sure that I'm going to transfer in Harvey Elliott, but I'm going to take a punt. So I'm going to see which midfielders are going to be decent for Game Week 5. And then in Game Week 6, this is how my team would look like. My team would not be that bad. Now, again, I have Richard Mateta, who is going to play against Liverpool. If I want here, because I don't have two free transfers or something like that, I'm going to be forced to take a hit if I want Haaland. And that's probably going to be by selling Mohamed Salah to Semenyo and one of Mateta or Watkins, probably Mateta to Erling Haaland. Now, if I can find him here. So yeah, this is how my team would look like. If I'm going to go with Harvey Elliott, I'm going to have 2.4 millions in the bank, make the transfers for a hit. And also with this strategy, with taking a hit, I could also use my triple captain on Haaland in Game Week 6, and also that's nice. So again, the team would not look really bad, as you can see from the screen. Milenkovic, Pedro Porro. Here I can play Anderson if I want against Aston Villa, then playing Richards against Liverpool. So the fixtures are really good. Now, obviously, I'm going to be stuck with Rogers, Watkins, and Wirtz for another week. If we move to Game Week 7, this is where probably I would look like to buy an Arsenal defender with one free transfer. I'm probably going to buy Gabriel here, make the transfer. The team looks decent, not going to lie. Then in Game Week 8, again, I could sell someone like Watkins to someone like Gyökeres. And yeah, that's really short my strategy at the moment if I'm not going to use my wildcard. Obviously, I didn't rule that out. And if we move to Game Week 9, here I could just sell Wirtz to Palmer. I'm going to need to find another 0.4 millions in the bank. So again, probably I'm not going to be able to afford Palmer in Game Week 9. But again, it is a possibility I don't hit that wildcard button. But at this point, to be honest with you, I'm just not sure if I just think that I should use my wildcard in Game Week 6, try to correct my mistakes, get rid of Rogers, Watkins, Wirtz, Pedro Porro, Mateta. There are a lot of players I want to change, so why not just hit that wildcard button? But yeah, now let's talk a little bit about what happened in Game Week 4. Okay, now real short, let's take a look at what happened in terms of fixtures in Game Week 4. So Arsenal, another really good performance against Nottingham Forest. That was expected, to be honest with you. Gyökeres scored. Arsenal defense is still great, so nothing new here. Nottingham Forest obviously didn't change a lot with Ange, but again, it was against Arsenal. It was a difficult fixture for them. Semenyo impressed again for Bournemouth against Brighton. He also, we're going to talk a little bit about Semenyo, but he scored also a penalty. Crystal Palace Sunderland, yeah, really good for all the Crystal Palace defenders. Not so good for someone like Jeremy Pino, someone like Mateta. Everton, Aston Villa, a really bad game as I talked before. I wish I didn't saw this game on TV. Really bad game, to be honest with you. Aston Villa deserved to lose. Everton deserved to win this game. They had way more chances than Aston Villa. Fulham Leeds, a pretty close game. Fulham win at the end with an own goal from Leeds, which was really funny. If you didn't see that, I recommend you to go watch that. Newcastle, really solid defense again for Newcastle. Another clean sheet. Voldemort scored in his first appearance for Newcastle. So yeah, really good for him. West Ham, Tottenham. West Ham continued their bad form. Spurs continue to impress again. A lot of defenders scoring for Spurs. Someone like Van de Ven, someone like Xavi Simons got an assist. Really impressed with the results pretty much for Spurs in the first 4 gamings of the season. Brentford Chelsea, this was pretty much a wild game. João Pedro, really good minutes. He scored again. He got some bonus somehow. Palmer is back. He was on the bench though, but he came in and scored for Chelsea. So one to monitor for sure. Burnley Liverpool, another really boring game. Burnley pretty much defended all the game. They didn't create a lot of chances. Liverpool were really lucky in the last minute of the game. Pretty much they got awarded the penalty and Mohamed Salah scored. But yeah, really disappointing for a lot of people for Liverpool, which we're going to discuss in a minute. And Manchester City, the last game of Gaming 4, again, a really nice performance from Erling Haaland. Manchester United were really bad, but again, playing against Manchester City away, it's not that easy for any team in the world. So yeah, Manchester City with another good performance. Now let's see which are the biggest disappointments in Gaming 4. Okay, now moving forward, we're going to discuss about the biggest disappointments this gaming. This part is going to be a little bit more shorter because I talked about some of these things earlier, so I didn't want to include a lot of things because I just wanted to include the main ones. So Aston Villa, I don't really need to discuss too much about them. They were really bad. They didn't score a goal in 4 games in the Premier League, and now in hindsight, obviously, nobody could have predicted that. Let's be honest. Again, maybe it is a mistake that I've gone with a double up myself for my team with Rodgers and Watkins, but the fixtures were there, the preseason form was there. But one thing to learn here is to not trust that much what's happening in the preseason. So again, Aston Villa completely changed side. Talking about preseason and playing in the Premier League in the first 4 gamings of the season. Now the problem is, what are we going to do with these players? They have great fixtures in the next 3. They're going to play against Sunderland, they're going to play against Burnley. But to be honest with you, I totally understand if you are tired of having Watkins, of having Rodgers. It is not nice because you're losing team value, because these players are dropping in price. Watkins also dropped in price. Also, I don't advise anyone to make any rush decisions at the moment. There are a lot of cup competitions. There is Champions League also. There's Europa League, a lot of competitions. A lot of players could get injured. So I would advise to keep your transfers this week more than in any other week, because I think that it's going to be really important to see which players are going to be available for Gaming 5. Now, I know it is really frustrating. Definitely, if you want to sell them, if you sold Rodgers for Semenyo, again, that's perfectly fine. I get it. Depending on your strategy, if you're going to use your wildcard or not, I think that you can give them one more week, as I said in my planning. If you're going to use your wildcard in Gaming 6, there's no harm in waiting one more week. I mean, you waited 4 gamings for Rodgers and Watkins to deliver. Surely you can wait one more when they're going to play against Sunderland. And also, the thing is, not a lot of strikers have great fixtures in Gaming 5. So to be honest with you, you can even talk about having someone like Watkins if you're going to use your free in Gaming 5 or something like that. Haaland is going to play against Arsenal. Gyökeres is going to play against Manchester City. Ekitike could, his minutes are not going to be great. Isak could get some minutes. They're going to play the first kickoff against Everton. So again, not a lot of great options. Mateta is not delivering. The only one is Chris Wood, who again, he could also get some minutes reduced for Nottingham Forest now that Ange is the new coach, but he has the best fixture obviously against Burnley. So yeah, another disappointment. Ekitike, Wirtz, Gakpo blanks. Pretty much all the players you had from Liverpool blanked in attack in a game when we expected Liverpool to score 2, 3, 4 goals maybe against Burnley. It was a really close game. Now again, that's also obviously because Burnley defended all the game and Liverpool tried to break their defense and they just couldn't do that. And really disappointing for everybody who owns Ekitike, Wirtz, Gakpo. But yeah, if you have Ekitike, obviously you knew that at some point Isak is going to go straight into that team, so he's just a short option. If you have Wirtz, the same as someone like Rogers, right? If you want to get rid of him, there are better options for sure at the moment. Gakpo, I would keep probably from all these three players. Probably Gakpo is the one I would keep at the moment because we don't know how his minutes are going to look like, and I think that his minutes are going to be decent at the moment when Isak is still not playing. Salah not good enough. You're paying a lot of money for someone like Mohamed Salah who's just not delivering. Now, don't get me wrong, Salah scored decent points considering how bad he played in the first 4 games of the season. Let's be honest, it's not the end of the world. I think that Erling Haaland got 5 or 6 returns, something like that, and Mohamed Salah got 3. So not such a big difference between them. But the problem with someone like Mohamed Salah is at the moment he's not getting chances at all. I mean, he's playing really wide. He's not getting chances. He scored the penalty in the last minute against Burnley. So yeah, let's be honest, he's not in the best form of his life at the moment. But if you remember, guys, this happened all over again last season when Erling Haaland scored hat-trick after hat-trick in the first games of the season, and after that Mohamed Salah just smashed it and smashed the FPL record. So I don't agree with everyone who's just saying that Salah is not an FPL option anymore. I think that it is a little bit too easy to write him off. I think that he's still going to be great. He's going to score more than 200 points this season. I'm pretty sure about that. It's just not performing at the moment, and that's the only reason. And also Erling Haaland is performing, so this is the idea when everybody wants to have Erling Haaland, but I don't think that is going to be such a huge difference between them. But I also understand if you want to sell Mohamed Salah for Erling Haaland in Game Week 5, then fine, you can do that for the future. It's not such a bad move. I just don't think that is the right moment because Salah has a better fixture at home. Haaland is playing against Arsenal. I don't think that his returns are going to be as good as they were against Manchester United. So yeah, that's just my opinion, obviously. And yeah, Mateta Munoz, again, a lot of people bought Munoz and he was outscored by someone like Chris Richards, who's 4.5 million. So a little bit disappointing because a lot of people probably were expecting some attacking returns from Daniel Munoz. But again, at least he returned something. Not like Mateta, who got 2 points. So yeah, these were pretty much the disappointments, the general disappointments of the game week. Now let's see what we learned and how we can improve for game week 5. Okay, so now we are in the final part of the video when we're going to discuss about what we learned in game week 4 and what can we do to try to improve for game week 5, and if we need to make some changes. Obviously that's a must, I think, at least a change in our thinking. Now, obviously, every game week is another piece of information. Maybe in game week 5 we're going to think differently, but at the moment, these are my opinions. Now, obviously, Haaland is on fire and Semenyo is on fire, and this is not a secret or something like that. Semenyo, I'm really happy that I recommended buying him in all my best players to buy. For each gaming, I recommending buying Semenyo. If you have the cash, if you want to sell some players, I thought that Semenyo was a great pick. And although I didn't buy him in my own team, I'm really happy that I recommended him to others. So yeah, when Kluivert is not going to be on the pitch, Semenyo, it's looking like he's going to be on penalties. Now, Kluivert played 15 minutes in the last game, so I'm not really sure when he's going to be a starter. At the moment, he just can't get into that team. They have a lot of players. They have Alex Scott, they have Tavernier, they have a lot of players, and Kluivert is just not making that first 11. And that's an advantage, obviously, for someone like Semenyo to be on penalties with the form he's in at the moment. He's really reliable. He's playing 90 minutes every gaming. So again, if you want to buy a midfielder, I'm just going to say it, buy someone like Semenyo. Not necessarily for game week 5 or something like that. He's playing against Newcastle at home. Newcastle also are going to play against Barcelona in the Champions League, so probably they're going to be a little bit tired. But yeah, not the best fixture to buy Semenyo, but you're going to want him long term. And yeah, Erling Haaland is the topic of the moment. I talked a lot about him, I think, in this video, and sorry if I repeated myself, guys. Please forgive me, but again, I think that we need to talk about him a little bit. We need to think how we're going to get him into our teams, because I think that everybody should have a way to have him at least for Game Week 6 when he's going to play against Burnley, because that's just a great fixture for someone like Haaland. He's sharp at the moment. He's getting a lot of chances. He missed a really huge chance against Manchester United, so he could have scored 3 or 4 goals, something like that, and he could have got also more assists if Ryan did scored that one-on-one with the goalkeeper. So definitely at the moment it looked like he's going to be a great option. As I said before, I don't think that we should write off Mohamed Salah. There is a world maybe I could see myself having both of them, Salah and Haaland, at some point. At the moment, I just think that I don't have the budget to do that for Game Week 6 if I'm going to use my wildcard. But definitely, let's talk here also. So to sell someone like Mohamed Salah for Haaland, if you want me to advise you to do that in Game Week 5, I just can't. Erling Haaland is going to play against Arsenal away. That's the worst fixture you can get for someone like Haaland, for any striker pretty much. I don't think that his returns are going to be that good like they were against Manchester United. And all how bad you think that Mohamed Salah was in the first 4 games of the season, he's still Mohamed Salah. And yeah, I know that maybe it is a little bit crazy to say that he's still on penalties. He's not going to blank. He's not going to play bad for all the season. Let's be honest here. I can assure you that at some point he's going to start to perform better. The same happened in the last season of Fantasy Premier League. Salah started slowly, Haaland started better. So maybe I should have known to have Erling Haaland from the beginning. That's my mistake, maybe. But I just want you to know to not write Mohamed Salah off again. Also myself at the moment, I'm going to plan a strategy to have Erling Haaland in Game Week 6, and probably that's going to be to sell someone like Mohamed Salah. I just think that the best moment is not in Game Week 5, definitely. But again, it is your team. Obviously, I can just share my opinion. You're going to do what do you want with your team. Liverpool attackers need to adapt still. This is my general perception with someone like Wirtz, with someone like Ekitike. Again, some return better than others. Someone like Gakpo, someone like Ekitike. They scored obviously a lot more points than someone like Wirtz, but the Liverpool attack needs to adapt, and that includes also someone like Mohamed Salah. And I think that with time they're going to improve, and Wirtz at some point is going to be a decent option in FPL, but at the moment it's not looking good for them. Cheap defenders, good value. Again, a lot of people are frustrating because obviously we pay a lot of money to someone like Salah, to someone like Wirtz, to someone like, I don't know, Bruno Fernandes, and a lot of cheap defenders are outscoring them. So there are a lot of good defenders at the moment. Anderson, Van de Ven, who scored a lot of points. For Spurs, the defenders from Crystal Palace, Lacroix, Richards, there are a lot of good value defenders who are pretty much outscoring the forwards and the midfielders. So yeah, with this new system with defensive contributions, I don't think that you should play a 5 at the back. I think that a lot of people at the moment are talking about playing a 5 at the back formation. Again, I'm still not ruling it out. If you want to do that, it can be that bad for sure, but I don't think that we should react too much on this. Again, maybe to have 4.5 million defenders in your starting 11, that could be great, and maybe invest some money in attack. Moving forward, time to sell our Aston Villa players. Judging by their performance in the first 4 games of the season, probably yes. Depending on your strategy, probably not, because yeah, if you're going to use your wildcard in Game Week 5, definitely you're not going to have probably any Aston Villa player because how bad they were. But again, would you be surprised for Watkins to score a brace against Sunderland in Game Week 5? To be honest with you, I would not be so surprised if that's going to happen. So again, depending on your strategy, if you're going to use your wildcard in Game Week 6, I think that you just cancel someone like Watkins or Rogers at the moment. But if you want to do that, if you're tired of having them into your team, I totally understand, and I don't think that's a mistake or something like that. But for an example, for my own team, I have Oli Watkins. I just think that it is a mistake to sell him to someone like Gyökeres when he's going to play against City. And again, if you want to do that, it's fine. Gyökeres is on penalties. He's going to play against City at home. But for me, it just doesn't really make sense. I don't want to say that it's mad, but it just doesn't make sense for me when they are going to have great fixtures. And now, although they're going to play against Fulham and against Burnley in Game Week 7, I just don't think that you should keep your Aston Villa players for the next 3 games of the season. I definitely don't want to say that, but Depending on your strategy, one gaming to keep them is not the end of the world. João Pedro minutes are great, so not a surprise here, but Mark Guiu wasn't even on the bench for Chelsea, and João Pedro was also not 100% fit, and he still played 70 plus minutes. So again, his minutes are looking great. He's just a decent option. If you have him, definitely just keep him, no question about that. Palmer want to monitor, and I'm saying that because the fixture at some point for Chelsea are going to be great, and Palmer, we know that he's just a great player. So a lot of people wrote him off also. He obviously was on the bench. He came in and scored for Chelsea. He's still on penalties, on set pieces. In game week 9, they're going to play against Sunderland, and probably you're going to want to have him because he's going to be a really strong captaincy option in game week 9. So again, want to monitor how he's going to play when the Champions League is going to start. If his minutes are going to be reduced, we need to see all those things, and that's why I think that Chelsea are going to rotate. Cucurella, for an example, was rotated in the Premier League. I just think that they are going to rotate. They have such a big squad. They are going to rotate in defense. I wouldn't trust having any of Chaloba, Tosin, Cucurella, Malo Gusto. Again, I wouldn't go for any of those players. Estevao, Neto, these players are going to be rotated now more than ever with Champions League being back. And my last advice for you guys, keep your transfers, a lot of competitions midweek. So some players are going to play in the Cup, some players are going to play in the Europa League, Champions League, Conference League. So a lot of things could happen, a lot of players could get injured, and yeah, a lot of players could score. Obviously, we need to monitor how these players are going to do. I think that if you didn't make any transfers, you got the drop for Watkins. Semenyo rose in price already, so I don't think that you should make any more transfers at the moment if you didn't did them earlier. So again, I would advise anyone to wait after these gamings are going to be done and then decide on your transfers. But definitely I would advise also everyone to think about your strategy, what are you going to do, and also if you want to go for someone like Haaland or not, you really need to plan how you're going to get him for gaming 6. But in the end, I want to thank everyone who watched this video this long for supporting this channel, especially for my supporters and members on Buy Me a Coffee. The links are into my description if you want to support the channel. Thank you so much guys for watching. It really means a lot and I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, obviously please consider leaving a like, hit that subscribe button if you're new around here, and I'm going to see you tomorrow probably. Bye. Bag gura lor, când mă întreabă oamenii de unde sunt le zic de bani.